What is going on, guys? It's Ryan from RPS Dent Specialists coming to you with another Dent Digest live show. I want to welcome Myke Toledo from Dent Time. What's going on, Mike?
Dude, what's going on? What's crack-a-lacking, everybody?
Uh, you know, just
Yeah.
another Thursday, my friend.
Ah, man, it feels like it's already the weekend, man, to me.
I was
It
ready
really
for the
does.
weekend yesterday. So I want to
Yeah.
do a little recap on my show from last week. We had a big tool giveaway with the Dent Reaper that I gave away. I had John on and just kind of went through his story on how the Dent Reaper came to, how it was made, what made him come up with that tool, what made him come up with the idea. And it was some really, really good information. His story is kind of unique too. I love hearing some of these guys that have really been trying to grow their own little business after coming from a larger company. So,
Yeah, that's always good, man. That's how the innovation of tools are growing is the smaller people, man. You
yeah,
know?
it's crazy. It's so crazy. If you look back, say 10 years ago, the different types of tools that were out there compared to what we have now.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, dude, but night and day, man. Night and day. And and I know, Ryan, that those tools make you better, faster, and cleaner today. I mean,
Totally. And
I
I think techs are learning faster. What's your thought on that?
Uh, I can testify that that's true because as I train people and they use the newer tools, let's say like Stanliner, like the new glue pulling systems, like Glexo, like all these tools that help you become faster and keep prevent the cleanup at the end. That how much time does that save you at the end? That's what's really crazy about it. Time saving. You don't want this to be a soccer match, honestly, because you don't want time added at the end of the game. Not this game. You
Oh
want to
yeah.
shave time, and that's why it's an investment. It's not You're not spending money; you're investing money to help your repairs to become much cleaner and offer a quality, more better repair to your customers as well.
I always try to explain people the eliminant board. I say it's just like HD television. I used a plastic board with a fog line in the center for 15 years.
Yep.
And then the eliminant came out and you're like, oh my gosh, it's so much cleaner. It's so much brighter. It's crazy. I really enjoy just the smaller guys coming out with different tools that help our everyday, profession here.
Yep, I agree. One hundo, dude.
So I do have to give a shout out on the show this week. So I talked to you, I think it was a week or so ago. I was looking for a new hail light, and I've been waiting for James Lee's new Eliminate hail light for I think 2 years now. So I was like, I need to get one. I'm doing some really, really big, large roof damage, and I was like, I need a new light. So I ordered a Pro PDR. Came in the mail Friday. I'm all excited. I'm like a little kid at the candy store. Cut the box open and get it all put together, and there's no cord in the box. And I'm like, super cool. Super cool. So it was Friday night. Saturday, I sent an email out to Pro PDR. And I've heard some nightmares. I've heard some issues with lights and then some issues with customer service. And I still wanted to give them a shot. So Monday morning, 8 or 9 o'clock their time, because they're behind me, get a call from them. I am so sorry. We screwed up. I'm going to overnight it to you. You're going to have it before 10 o'clock in the morning the next day. And I was like, you know what? That's really awesome. That's customer service. That made my day.
Yeah.
So I ordered a cigarette plug with it while I had her on the phone. So she put that in the box, shipped it. So it was supposed to come with the cigarette lighter and the alligator clips. It comes in the mail the next day. I bust the bag open it up. No alligator clips, just the cigarette lighter. So I called Debbie up again and I said, Debbie, I was just telling 10 people how great your customer service was. I really appreciate you overnighting it to me, but it's missing the alligator clips. And she's like, are you kidding? Are you really kidding? And I was like, yeah. I said, look, don't overnight it. I can deal with the cigarette plug. We're okay. Just get them out. She's like, thank you. Thank you for not making this a big deal. I was like, we're all in the same business.
Yeah.
We deal with the
Yeah.
same thing. But that tells you right here, same thing I try to ingrain in my two guys is customer service. So there's people in there watching. All those people just heard about customer service. So there's some people in here on the live chat that heard how great the customer service is. It's the same thing that it's ingrained in our business.
You know what?
Word,
Everybody makes mistakes, man. Okay. Everyone's trying. Nobody wants to intentionally have bad service.
no.
Some people are just better at it than others, but nobody's intentionally going, you know what? I'm going to screw that customer up. You know what I mean? That's not how we are. And we do have short fuses. And as PDR techs, we are quicker to judge than anybody, unfortunately.
It's terrible. It's terrible. But I'll tell you, it felt really good when she called me and I didn't have to call her. She was on it.
Yeah.
So let's get into the show. So I'm sure a lot of you guys know Myke Toledo. He is definitely a stand-up guy and just in the industry. You're so ingrained in this industry. It's crazy. You're training, you being involved with Dent Trainer, just everything. Your reviews on some of these tools. So let's get into you. Let's figure out how Myke Toledo got into this paintless dent repair business.
Well, all right. Back in like 89, 90, well, didn't graduate yet, 90. So through 90 through 91, I was going to a local college, JC college, and I wanted to be a criminal justice major. So I was taking my classes. Anyway, and my stepdad got into paintless dent repair, and he was trained by Rick Dugan, which Dent Evo, we talked about that a little bit, and he got trained by the same guy. But he trained my stepdad, and I saw my stepdad training for about a year, struggling, almost a year. 1991, in the summer of 1991, my stepdad asked me if I wanted to do PDR, and I said, heck, why not? School's out. I'll go train with you. And long story short, I picked it up through him, but it wasn't an easy road, and I was on my own a lot. And that's just a quick, a breakdown of how I got into it. I honestly don't think, if I look back, there was no way where I thought, honestly, when Saturn came out, those cars, I thought my career was over, dude. I just like,
we all did.
Over. It's over. Saturn's here. It's all plastic cars forever. Goodbye. And I was already going, okay, I'm going back to my criminal justice career. But lo and behold, that didn't work out for those guys, thank God. And, here we are. But I think the journey of paintless dent repair was, man, it's perseverance, man. How there really wasn't much to, there doesn't like today, where you can see, you can measure up yourself and say, okay, I'm definitely doing it wrong, or I'm definitely doing it right. There was no, it wasn't black and white like it was today,
Not at all. Just the technology period. I should have brought it on today. This, like, my first paintless dent repair tool. If you looked at it, you're like, what is that?
Yeah, I do. Trust me. Dent Evo brought over the vintage light to the
I saw
IMI,
that.
and I just about cried, man, because that was the same light that I took in and out of my stepdad's car, my Carmen Ghia, when I was first starting.
Oh, Carmen Ghia, VW guy too, huh?
Yeah, dude, the poor man's Porsche. I really wish I didn't get rid of it, dude. So, but it was an awesome car to have. But I stuffed everything in the back of that, and we had, I had still lines, and the lines, it's been so long, I didn't realize the lines were 1/2 inch compared to 1/4 inch today, or 1/8 inch lines that we use for fine detail, but they're 1/2 inch lines. To me, that's a big dent line reflection. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The wider the line, the better it is for big dents at first, and then as the dent gets smaller, you want to go thinner lines. But
Vincent Rios says you're the line master.
A line master. Listen, man, there's some good guys out there. I just understand lines really well, and so I think I explain lines to the public pretty well about it. So there are some pretty good line guys out there too.
I can't do it. I can't do it. I really can't. I don't even think I could fix a dent with it.
Listen, I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
You know, I'm a fall guy. I'm an old Dent Wizard guy. The beige board with the spray painted line in the center, and my new guy Shane, he was like, look, you know, he's watching the dent trainer, cramming in the dent trainer for a while, and he's like, I want to try lines, and I'm like, you're gonna hate it. If you're with me every day, you're gonna hate it. So we take a board, put pinstripe all over it, get it all set up, and he was like, you're right. I can't figure it out. He's like, Myke makes it look so easy with the lines.
Yeah, that's what my students were saying today. You know, they're like, man, I can see exactly what you're doing. I can see the reflection. Listen, I tell people too, man, if you're a fog guy and you've been doing fog for a long time, I'm not saying it's impossible to learn lines, but it's going to be the most challenging thing you've ever learned about paintless dent repair. That reflection is brutal on you fog guys if you're trying to learn it, you know.
It's difficult. So you're cramming everything in your Carmen Gia. How did it unfold from there?
Well, like I said, look, I'm not trying to put my stepdad down. If you wanted to listen to the full deep story, it's podcast number 2 on mine. But my stepdad was a great tech. Like all of you guys have probably seen a great tech out there. But if you've ever asked that person and he's not used to training anybody, he's probably a horrible explainer, you know, and more likely he's probably the most impatient guy when it comes to training. And that's my stepdad. He taught me enough to where I could hang on and do PDR and get slowly but surely better at it. So as I was trying to get better at it, I was figuring out how to figure out what the reflection was doing. You know, at that time, I didn't know there were certain patterns for certain dents. There was no why factor like today.
Yeah.
You know, what are you doing wrong? Why did you do that wrong? And then it sticks, and that's why it helps you do dents and keep doing them cleaner. But I'd have to figure out, remember, how did I do that? I'd be so frightful to go to the next dent because I got the other one out, but I don't know how I did it, you know?
Yeah.
And so I'd have to teach myself by myself. And then one day I started getting the hang of it, you know, and I've worked with my dad again, and we went to a lot, and he's like, you know, go ahead and go do that dent over there, you know, do the hood. And yeah, so I'm over there and I'm working it out, and I come back over and it's like, hey, what's the next one? He's like, what do you mean is the next one? You done already? I said, yeah. He goes, let me go look at that. And he goes over and he goes, how in the hell did you get that down so fast? And I go, okay, I'm getting it now. And I think that was one of the sparks. And if you don't mind me telling another story about how I really got better, it was, I still do this customer today, man. He is so cool. He calls me, he says, Myke, I need you to come take a look at my dent. I got a Lexus. My kid was playing softball and they hit it on the front fender. I'm like, I don't think I was already telling him on the phone, I don't think I can fix that. Myke, come over here. I'll pay for your time. Just come over here and look at it. So I'm driving over my little Carmen Gia. I'm coming over there. And I look at it. I'm like, you ever see that buzzard cartoon? You know, that cartoon with the buzzard and he has to go catch a rabbit?
Yeah.
So I want you to go catch a rabbit. And he's like, hold.
Yeah.
That's how I was when he said, go ahead and fix that. I want you to fix that. I was like, no, there's no way I'm going to fix that. I can't fix that. I fix small dings like that thing. I don't, that's huge. To you and I today, we would take an R4 or a ball round tip and that thing would be out in 5 minutes. Okay. That's how easy it is in today's world. Or take Glexo and take 80% of it out and then finish it. Okay.
Yeah.
I was scared to death. I'd take my blunt tip, squared off blunt tip and put electrical tape around it. And you guys got to understand that was our go-to electrical tape. And I'm sliding or duct tape and I'm sliding all over the panel, you know, making high spots and stuff like that. So granted, I did get it out. It looked different, but it was better. It was better. Okay. But he was so happy because I told you can do it. You got to believe in yourself. And I don't think at that point I was completely believing in myself, but I felt good about myself and enough to know that, you know what, if I give PDR a good chance and that gives myself a good chance, then I think I could probably have a decent future in this.
That's cool. The struggle's real, right? I mean, I have Shane right now, and even James. I have two new guys, and they're like, "Man, you make this look so easy." But now like with Shane's brain, he's finally starting to click. Okay, I understand why he's using this, why he's using heat here, or where this crown is. Should I knock the crown down first? Should we push first? He's starting to get that end. Now I
Yeah.
just need to get these, working with these, and we'll be okay.
Right. And you know, your brain, I tell my students all the time, your brain and your eyes, they're not on the same page. Your eyes say, listen, mofo, it's right there. And the brain's like, you mofo, I can't tell what the hell you're looking at, man. And
Yeah.
they're having an argument back and forth. Meanwhile, you're going this way, that way. No, he's saying this way. And you have an argument back and forth to what's what, you know?
Yeah.
And that's your first, you know, month, 3 months, whatever you're struggling with. It's until you identify, you know, what is what, because generally I think we look at it too deep, you know, we overlook what's really in front of us and we look too deep in it. So
Of course we do. Of course. You know, it's psychological for
yeah.
sure. So you got your first big dent. You're going along. So from that point, how did dent time come about? Did you just do it on your own with your dad for a while? Did you kind of, where did you go from there?
Yeah, good questions, Ryan. I look, first of all, again, I'm very grateful for my stepdad, and nobody knows this story. I'm going to tell you guys, this has not been on a podcast. Matter of fact, Ryan, you're going to hear it publicly for the first time, but I never told about what happened to, you know, what happened after we did not work together anymore. So I worked from him from 1991 through 2001.
Oh, wow.
And then him and I did not agree on stuff. And so he went his way and I went mine. And I started Dent Time. Technically, it was with my cousin. Then him and I went our separate ways, and I kept Dent Time, and he's Dent Effect up in Riverside area.
Okay.
But that's a, you know, story it is what it is. But I never talked to my stepdad for certain reasons, which definitely don't need to mention here. But so I never talked to him since 2001. But I trained a guy like last year and a half ago, a young kid, and his dad was dent masters out in Palm Desert. So he goes, "Hey, Myke, I need you to train my son because I don't have the time. I just want you to train the basics, and then I'll take over." And I said, "Fine." So I knew who he was, and I said, "Hey, you know, what happened to you ever talk to my stepdad? Because he was in the same area in Palm Desert." He goes, "You didn't know?" I said, "No, I didn't." What do you mean? What do you mean I don't know? I go, "I haven't talked to my stepdad since 2001. He goes, "He passed away in 2003. He had a massive stroke." So I never really got to amend like what happened. You know, I was planning to because it took such a long time, but you know, unfortunately he passed away, and that's the story. So if anybody's wondering what happened with that, that's what ended up happening. So how did Dent Time happen? Well, again, the break off with me and my stepdad, I created Dent Time, but beyond those 10 years from 1991 through 2001, I really told my stepdad, "Hey, we need to grow this. We need to get a shop. We need to, you know, advertise." I was already thinking that way before, way ahead before everyone else. Nobody was a professional PDR tech back then. I mean, they showed up in shorts and no uniform. You know, the only people I think that really was branded was Dent Wizard at the time. Okay. But all the retail people or the local dealership guys, not professional looking. I wanted to change that for myself. So, and to be honest with you, I was afraid of Dent Wizard. I thought Dent Wizard was going to take over my area. Either I was going to have to join Dent Wizard or I was going to have to quit. You know, and so I was like, well, how can I create, like, I thought Dent Wizard was going to go into my dealerships and take it over. Honestly. So I was already thinking ahead going, I want to control my own future. You know, I think I'm going to go after retail because there's no way somebody can take that away from me. And
you're right.
So when me and my stepdad broke off, I already knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to letter up my car. I had a 2001 or 2000 Civic, which I still have in my shop. Okay. Lettered that sucker up. Everybody was like, whoa, I was getting calls left and right, people pulling in front of me. Hey, look at my dent, and it was just great. Nobody's seen advertising like that. That was before wraps came out, it was big time. And I advertised in the phone book, car washes, you name it. It was forced advertisement. And I just had this vision that was locked up for 10 years. And then I really wanted to change my dad during those years. But my mom said, Michael, you need to be patient, because in order to be a really good leader, you first have to become a very good follower. And so I said, okay, all right. So I obeyed. I picked up a lot of things that my stepdad did, his habits of how he did dents, watched his work habits, watched my mom, how she busted her butt doing the paperwork and all that management. And it paid off. It really did. Being patient really paid off, because, ladies and gentlemen, if you're working for a really good company right now and you think you can do it by yourself right now and you think you can make more money, you probably can. Not discouraging you from that, but I think you really, just because you're a good tech doesn't mean you're going to be a good businessman. So
Yeah.
make sure you really pick up the other half before you just go out there and say, just because you're a good tech is going to justify you running a good business, because it's usually not good enough. So that's
And
what I learned.
there's so much to it, so much more you don't know. When you first start, you're like, oh, we got this, I got this. And then you're like, we got to pay taxes.
Yeah.
We've got to, you know. So keep going. So you started Dent Time. You were rocking your Civic, and Mike. I'm a Honda guy.
Yeah.
We were talking at Anson. I still have my old. You see this thing? It's not really orange. It's kind of primered right now, but it's funny. I'm a huge Honda guy.
Yeah. Well, I had, you guys know, I had a XB, right?
The Dent box.
Yeah, the dent box. Still got the license plates, put it up there. Sold it, but it was either that or the Civic. And I was like, nope, not getting rid of my Civic, man. The Civic was just my pride and joy. I haven't drove it almost 11 years, but it was in storage for 10. But long story short, then that car made me a lot of money. So I drove around in a Honda Civic until I got the XB in 05. From 05 until, probably a couple of years ago, I got 3 years ago, I got the RAV4. So, but what do you want to know between that and there? Because I'll be specific. So if you want.
So you're going ahead. You decide to open up a retail location. So you were doing some mobile stuff. Then you started getting into a location from there.
Well, I've always wanted, I'll be honest, I wanted a location probably since 1995, bugging my stepdad. And then when I got 2001 and I got together with my wife, my current wife, which was my girlfriend at the time, she was always the devil's advocate. And I was like, I'm going to go get a shop. She's like, no, you're not. You're going to stay small, keep it all. And which was fine. I did. And I was training people. You guys got to realize I was training people on the go. Okay. Technically, I don't recommend that at all, because even though I was training, I still had a facility where I was training. I either rented a space from a body shop or detail companies and stuff like that. But I was still running a business. But the good thing about that is that I always had another tech working for me at the time. So it wasn't, I was doing work and they were training. But I wanted a shop for that reason too. Ever since then, I was like, I got to have my own shop. This doesn't look, to me personally, it doesn't look polished to me,
Yeah.
And I really got the shop, to be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, is for the training, not for the retail thing, because I'm doing fine in the retail mobile business. In San Diego, there's no reason for me to have a shop, but I ended up getting a shop for the training purposes and to do a lot of video work out of it too. And it has worked out pretty good so far.
You know what I do? I'm sure these guys want to hear it too. I guess it was maybe 2 years ago at MT. Your story on how you started YouTube.
Oh yeah.
I remember you telling me that quick little story. I thought it was really interesting. If you can get into that story, that would be awesome.
Okay, all right, all right, okay. So you're talking. Okay, all right. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna 2000. What year was that? It was 2005.
Yeah,
2005. Um, I trained a guy named Gonzo. Believe it or not, that's his name, his real name.
that's a
And
cool name.
yeah, but he's funny. If you've met the guy, he's funny, dude. And so he's like, Myke, I've got this friend. His name's Bira, and he knows how to do videos, and he can shoot your video. There's nobody on YouTube that has dents, like does dent repair like you, PDR. I was like, what's YouTube? What? You don't know YouTube? It's all, he explains it. And I was like, all right, let's get this guy over. So Bira comes over, and he comes to one of my lots, and he has this little camcorder, and at the time it was a really fancy little camcorder and HD, I'd never seen it. I was always fascinated with electronics anyway. So he had it,
Mhm.
and I was like, cool. So he shoots the video and the car going, and real camcorder style, but it was cool. And so he goes, hey, Myke, can you come over to my studio, and we'll do a voiceover, and I'll show you, and we'll do some edits. I said, fine. So I go over to his place in downtown. I go upstairs, and he's got this like server room, and then he's got this computer. It's really big computer in this tower, aluminum tower. And I'm like, what is that, man? He's like, oh, I'm gonna edit your video. I'm like, right here on this desktop. He's like, yeah. I'm like, whoa, that's fascinating. So, and I go, he's doing it. He's doing all the edits, and he's asking me to do the voiceover. And I'm like, dude, are we gonna do a voiceover right here? He's like, yeah. And he gets my voice. I sucked so bad too. And he edits it. And I go, what kind of computer is that? He's like, oh, it's a Mac, Apple Mac. I'm like, what? I thought that thing went out in 1972, man. And he's like, no. These guys are coming up again. I was super fascinated. Anyways, he edits the video, he puts it up, and I'm loving it because I'm like, whoa, I'm on YouTube. Look, I look good, and the video's looking cool, and showing the dent repair. And I'm starting to get these comments that pop up like a month or two later, and Beer's like, man, you're killing it, man. They're getting a lot of views, And I was like, yeah, okay. And I look, and all the comments are like, ha ha ha. Look at this guy, man. He looks like he's humping the dent out, And I'm like, what? They said it in worse words than that.
Yeah,
And I look at the video again, and Bira, I never noticed it because all I was fascinated was the dent was coming out, but I didn't look where the dent was being focused at. So it was right on my zipper in the reflection. So it looks like I'm humping in and out, in and out. It looks like the dent's coming out just by poking at it. Dude. I was so embarrassed. I was like, oh my God, dude, I need to get that down. And I don't know how many views. It had like 30,000 views at the time. And I called Bjorn and I said, look, man, we got a problem. What? I go, you know the video? He's like, yeah, it's doing great, isn't it? I go, yeah, too good. We need to take it down. He's like, no, you don't want to take it down. Those are great. I was like, no. It does. It looks like I'm bleeping the dent out, and I don't like that. People are commenting. He goes, Myke, doesn't matter. There's no such thing as bad publicity. And I was like, no, you need to take it down. But he took it down. I kind of wish I left it up, but that was the
yeah.
story of that.
That thing would have crushed it right now. You would have done really. It probably a trillion views on that video.
Yeah. But that set the tone. So I was fascinated. Myke Toledo doesn't go and gets like the introduction, small camcorder stuff. So in 2006, I get this big ass Canon XLR giant professional camcorder. And I try to start shooting video, and nothing's in focus. I don't know how to do. I don't even know what the iris is. I don't know any of this stuff, dude. Know how to work this camera. Way over my head, trying to create videos. But you know what? Little by little, I got better at it. But then I decided to buy Final Cut. Skip iMovie. Let's go to Final Cut Pro. At that time, Final Cut Pro was the hardest system to learn. I mean, it was really, you ever look at Premiere?
Yeah.
Premiere's still kind of hard, okay? But Final Cut was even harder. And I don't even know how, but I was so obsessed to learn it. I knew more than the Apple people when I went there, but I just wanted to learn it. And here's the story, guys. I wanted to get good. I didn't want to get the best at everything, but I wanted to get good at everything because I wanted to have control of what I did. I have this thing like I want to control my own future. And the only way to really do that was to learn how to create my own videos. And I thought if I can create a video, I'm in charge of my future because I can control who can see my stuff, when they see my stuff, who they are, who they can see that I am. And I was always thinking about the customer, like, how's the customer going to portray me? And I wanted to have that control. And I thought video was the future all the way in 2005, starting 2006. And look where we're at right now. I
Yeah,
mean, we're on video right now,
I know.
live. Can you believe that? I
Yeah.
mean, people around the world, we have broadcasting live. It's fascinating. And there's so much opportunity to promote your business now. It's not funny. I mean, there's no excuse for you not to promote your business.
No, no, and it's so easy. You know, you've got Instagram, Facebook.
You got
I
your
mean,
phone.
it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I mean, look at Don Cavanaugh. He goes live every single day and just talks. And there's 25 people on there.
Yeah, good old
And
Don.
they're
Yeah, he's a
and
good
they're
guy.
not all dent guys. You know, some of them are his customers.
Yeah,
So,
that's what I'm saying. I listen. You're always promoting, whether you think you are or not. You know, you're always promoting. I honestly, I'm so excited about doing marketing, and it's not funny. I mean, I have a problem though. I think my wife, she wants me to go see somebody, but I can't even watch a Game of Thrones without thinking about, oh man, I got to do some work. I feel guilty, you know?
yeah, I'm the same way. My Sundays video time and my wife just lets me go, but it relaxes me. You know, it's
Yeah.
funny because 2 years ago Chris was like, you got to get on YouTube, just buy a camera, buy an A50 100, just shoot some video, just put it through Final Cut Pro, you'll be fine. And I was like, man, I don't need this, we're busy, I don't have time. Bought the camera, it sat in the box for like 7.5 months, and then I was like, let me try this, and just started. And it's, you know, it's taken me a long time. Some of the stuff you're doing, I'm like, I asked you to answer. I'm like, how are you doing this? How, you know, I can watch 50 YouTube videos and I get little tips, but I'm a hands-on type of guy. You know what I mean? I kind of have to work my way through it, but anybody can do it. If I can figure it out and I can
Yeah.
put out some of these crappy videos that I'm putting out, anybody can do it.
Well, I think, you know what, here's what's crazy is that you might not think it's good, but to someone else it could be great. And that, regardless if it's a customer or if it's another tech in the industry,
Yeah.
they pick up something, they learn something. And the great thing about it is that you get that, you see that reflection of what they've learned or what kind of, you know, profit you've gotten out of that video. Guess what? It's like, honestly, swallowing something that you've never had before, and all of a sudden you're hooked on it.
Yeah.
And now you're like, man, I got to keep doing it because it's working, you know. And now
Yeah.
you're excited because you created that. You are in charge of that. Again, controlling your own future. That's what I'm all about.
And it seems like that's really your hobby. You know what I mean? It seems like you're, when we were talking at Ants and you were kind of going into some of your stuff and you get to see the smile and the brightness of your eyes is kind of, yeah, this, you know, this is what we're doing. This is how I'm doing this. This, you know, and the good thing with Myke is, I don't know if you guys know this or not. If you see him at MTE or any of the events, he'll sit there and talk to you. Just ask him questions, you
Yeah.
know. He's the easiest person you can talk to out there. He'll sit there and talk to you forever.
Yeah, I'm very approachable, guys, and not anybody you might think I am. I'm just like you guys, anybody else. I
You
wanted
gotta
to go ahead.
you gotta give yourself a little credit. You're kind of, I look at it as you're kind of like a pioneer. You know what I mean? You were kind of ahead of your game. Um, you know, and you do a lot for us. I remember watching your videos even before I knew you, just watching them on YouTube, on Facebook reviews of tools, and you know, it takes a lot of time to do a review on some of these tools. You know what I mean?
Oh,
It's time you've invested, and you've done a lot for the industry. You know,
yeah,
it's
yeah. Well, I thank you for recognizing. I appreciate that, Ryan. Here's another thing too, guys. you got to make sure that whatever you do, don't feel like you're obligated to do it. If you don't like it, don't do it. Eventually you'll get comfortable, but don't force yourself to do it. Like today, I usually have a podcast every Thursday. The reason why you guys didn't hear a podcast is because, you know what? I need a day off. I've said, you know what? I'm going to take a week off. I need to relax.
And now I'm wasting his time. Look
No,
at that. On his day off.
no, the day I feel like I feel like it's a job, then I'm done. I don't want to do it anymore. I feel like that's, that's why we have been doing PDR so much, is because we love it. It's our passion, but I don't want to ever feel like I'm obligated to do it. And the day I don't like doing it is the day I'm stopped going to do it. So
you've got a question in here from Mike Brown.
Yeah.
I mean, from James Brown. Do you think YouTube has changed your business at all?
Most definitely, yes. Yeah. I don't think it's changed it. I think it's helped flourish it. Okay. Definitely, for sure. My thing is, it helps build a brand, regardless if you're trying to build yourself a brand in the PDR industry, or if you're trying to build your brand in your community. It definitely has, but you need to make sure you have a clear-cut goal about what you want to do. If you're going to do video, you don't want to be all over the place, because you'll confuse yourself, and you also confuse the audience who is watching the video.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely think you should write things down, what you want to do. But YouTube is definitely one of the biggest influences of my career.
And my wife asked me a couple months ago, why are you doing all these tool reviews? And I said, you know why? What do I do when I'm looking to buy a TV set? What do? I go on YouTube. I look at what TV I want to purchase, and I'm like, okay, let me watch 1 through 18. Like when you really started doing the reviews, there wasn't a whole lot out there.
No.
Now you've got guys all over the place doing them, and a lot of them it's really good information, So that's one of the reasons I enjoy doing the reviews. Is it's not that hey, I'm getting this tool for free. A lot of the stuff I'm paying for and putting it out there just because it needs to be out there.
Let me tell you something, Ryan, and you guys, and you people out there, if you think that tool reviews are the motivation for doing that, you're wrong, because the value, exactly. It's cheaper for me to buy the tool, even if it was a Carbon Tech rod or Carbon Tech hood stand, TDN, whatever. Do you know the amount of production, the time taken away, the editing, all that stuff? It adds up to about literally $1,000 to $2,000 per review. That's what it costs, literally. If they hired it to be done as professional, let's just say as the way I do it, or Chris or Ryan or does it, it's going to cost 2 G's. I don't care what you say, minimum. So, we do put a lot of voluntarily time into these things, and getting a free tool. Not that I don't appreciate the tool guys who send me their stuff, but the value of that is just, it's way under compared to the value of the tool. So
of course, it takes a lot of time. It really does. I like it, and I see you doing it too. We were at Anson, and you got some stuff, and you put it through its motions. You know what I mean? You're using that tool for a while before you even come out. Before you came out, come out with a review.
That's why these tool reviews don't get pumped out one after one after one after another, because a lot of you guys, look at me or other people who are giving their opinions, and you count on it. You guys are counting on us to give you an honest opinion. As most of you know, probably, if you don't see a review from me about that product, there's 2 reasons. Either I haven't had a chance to review it or edit and doing the review, or it's not good. So that's the thing. That's my deal. I just don't believe in putting down a tool. It's not worth my time. You know what I mean? To do that.
So how did Dent Trainer? How did you get hooked up with John Hiley in starting that whole project? That was another question that was sent to. I had a ton of questions sent to me this week, so I want to kind of get them all in. We're going to go a little bit over, if that's okay with you, Mike, just since we started a little later.
That's cool. Good question. So in 2009, I was already thinking about doing a dent trainer kind of subscription. Matter of fact, I probably still have it on my blogs. I never took it off, I don't think. Matter of fact, I think it's on denttime.blogspot.com, and that's still a live blog, and I don't post anymore there, but there's archives of me talking about it. Stay tuned. I want to do a subscription. I think John actually saw those. He knew I was going to do something sooner or later, but he hit me up because I kind of left it on the side. I was like, well, I don't think I got enough footage yet to open that up, you know. And then he hit me up. He's like, hey, because we worked together on creating the what's that company with Ryan Hampton? What's that? What the hell did I do that? What's that? Geez, what's Ryan? That,
PDF.
yeah, PDR
Yeah.
Nation. So I don't know. A lot of you don't know that me and John actually helped build that site. We built the back end of that site, built the videos of that site, did a lot. Not its current site now, but before they changed it, we did that site, and then we got just way more experience on building websites, knowing how they work, how we could run it. And then him and I got together, and John's like, hey, I could do other video, the fog part, and you can do the line part, and then we can get together. And so it worked out. I mean, and that's what we did. We built a little nice website to host these videos, and that's how it came about.
And I'll tell you, that is if you guys don't have Dent Trainer, get it. I just every year I just let the subscription run. I never even mess with it. Even as an experienced tech, there's still good information on there.
Well,
you know, the business center part of it's even great. You know, the glue pulling waiver. There's a bunch of stuff on there that if you guys don't have it, get on there. It's really good information. It's a great tool.
Yeah. Well, thank you. And we are building a whole new platform site right now. In fact, I'm doing it right now. And this summer, I'm going to bust my ass and be polishing it. And it's going to be a very different experience, but a very good experience. So I'm looking forward to launching that sometime or mid this year. So, or third quarter of this year. So we're working hard on that. But thank you.
It was funny because I was talking to you, I guess it was last week on the phone, and we were saying about our wives. I said, man, there's no way I could do all this stuff if I didn't have a supportive wife. You know,
No way.
and you were like, I'm the same way. There's no way this could happen without my wife being.
No, there's no way you guys could do it. Like if you don't have a good supporting wife, it's not going to happen. And I know us guys who work this hard we do have our differences with the wives, and the wives are like, they go to battle. Here's my wife. My wife goes, another tool showed up at the door. Stop telling them to send you tools and send you money instead. So, you know, that's my wife right there. Sarcastically, but not sarcastically. So, but
At least you get that. She's like, what did you buy now? And I'm like, I didn't buy anything. It just showed up. I don't even know where it's from sometimes. You know what I mean? So,
well, if she sees B&H Photo or Amazon, she knows that's not sponsored. So, yeah. So, yeah.
So I asked you to bring on a newer tool that you have started using that you're really enjoying.
Okay,
so what do you got for me?
Can you keep your audience hold on for a
Yeah.
second? Because someone just sent me something from Italy yesterday. Okay, hold on a second.
So I'm going to bring on one and just talk about what I've got. You can do your thing.
Okay.
So I don't know if you guys have seen this. I've talked about it a couple times. It is the Endeavor Crown Jewel. I've had it since, I mean, you can see it's got some wear on it. I've had it since the Hail Expo. If you don't have one of these, you really need to get it. The other day I was doing a van, big white roof, and it had some smaller spots in one of the ribs. And when I was talking to Chad a couple weeks ago, he said, try it on the underside, you know, trying to bring up those edges where you usually push. And it was close enough. This is a shorter one. It's got 3 different sizes. It's a little, the newer ones are a little cleaner than this. This is one of his prototypes. And I was just beating the underside of this thing on the rib, and it came up so clean. You really, there was no real high. It was a really soft, brought everything up nice and clean. I use this thing all the time. I do a ton of roofs. If you see me on Instagram, I'm always posting, doing another roof, doing another roof. This thing with crowns is unbelievable.
Totally agree, dude.
When he brought it, I shared a room with him at the Hail Expo, and he's like, "Check this out." And I'm like, "Another hammer, dude." I'm like, "Come on, Chad, you're more creative than that." And he's like, "Trust me, just trust me." So Dwayne was there with the PDR box, and I said, "Hey, can I borrow your hood for a couple of minutes?" And he's like, "What do you mean?" So we whack this thing from the underside, make a big, nasty like mound, and Chad is just beating this thing in the middle of the Hail Expo. And I'm like, okay, I'm getting it. I'm still not sure about it, but I'm getting it. So I get home and I get this Altima roof, and it is just crowned up. It's an Enterprise car. It's destroyed. So I literally beat the crap out of this roof with this thing. I made 18 pushes the whole roof I did with this tool. So if you guys want to get one of these, I'm telling you right now, you're going to thank us. This tool is awesome.
I can vouch for that. I did a Acura RSX giant crown, and that thing is hella accurate. And even if you make a mistake, it's not going to punish you. You know what I mean? It's a really good training blending hammer too. I mean,
that thing is, it's awesome. It's carbon shaft, solid carbon, rubber ball at the end. He does have it in different colors now. I would get the middle size. That's probably your best size. He has a smaller and then a really long. But the middle size probably your most versatile.
Yeah, that's
but
what
this
I got.
thing, it's awesome, man. He did a great job.
Okay, I actually meant to bring Cole Fox's bomber
Oh
tap
man,
down. Did
I
you get
just
one of those yet?
I just ordered it
Yeah,
Sunday.
it's good, dude. I mean, it's good for rails, really good. I wanted to bring it, but I forgot. But I had a tool here that was just sent from me from Italy. It's called DB Dent Tools. That's the maker of it, and his name is Danilo and Danny for in Italian. But here it's another carbon fiber blending hammer. Okay, so all right, so what's so special about this one? Okay,
I saw it on Facebook.
it's got a spring in it, like a
Come
dampening
on.
spring. Yeah. I haven't had a chance. I listen. This is just a first preview, guys. So it's got a little dampening spring in there. It's not what you think. It's not like a huge shock. It's just enough so it kind of gives. That's what I'm thinking. So, but it does have a little dampening. You unscrew it a little bit more, and you can get a little bit of dampening there. I honestly, it's yet to be tested, so I'm not going to say get it. I'm just telling you what I got. Okay, so it's pretty interesting. He's
Is
got
that a solid carbon shaft or is it hollow?
it feels hollow. I don't think it's solid.
Okay.
So
That's a
yeah,
great
I can't
idea
tell.
though.
I can't tell. It is great, yeah, but you know, we'll see how it is. You know, I'll put a little bit closer here, guys. So we'll see how it works. And his name's Danny, and it's about the same length as I would say as the hammer you just held up, like 18 inches or so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw those on Facebook, and I was
I
like, I'm trying to figure out what the spring was.
Yeah, I think it just gives enough dampening to absorb some of the shock. But like I said, I don't know yet. And then he sent me a kind of a newer tap down, a little bit heavier. Kind of reminds me of the Russian tap down I had. Unique brass kind of blending tip right there, and then a couple other tips in it. So we'll see. We'll see. Okay. There is another one I want to talk about. It's did you see the spring? It's like it looks like a spring.
Yeah,
Yeah. Do
I
you have
saw
one?
it at the Hail Expo. I was talking to Petros from VIP, and he was at there was a German show or a show overseas that he went to, and he was explaining it, but I haven't used one.
Yeah, I got that, and I've been playing with it. I didn't want to do a demo because I'm not. It does take practice, but it is effective. It does work, but you have to get good at it. So you put it underneath the panel and you pull it, boom, and it just hits the open panel that you don't have anything to leverage off of, but you hold it like that, or maybe a side panel. and you pull it, spring it, and it hits it. Or you can tap it down too. Pretty interesting, and it does work. And it can be quite fast if you get very efficient at it.
So, Parents Reconditioning is asking, what is a good fender lip tool that you guys would recommend?
Well, a good fender lip that you can't get. The fender, yeah, I know I'm still on. So a good fender lip tool that I would recommend. That's my wife over there. So live on YouTube, Mary. That's the boss.
I look good. I know.
Your hair looks amazing.
He says your hair looks amazing. Let's see here. Good fender lip tool. Well, Ultra just came out with a fender lip tip screw-on tip. It's kind of a whale tail with a bent lip. That has worked pretty good on the fender lips. PDR Finesse has a tool that you can get in there. It's not always the best for every panel, but that seems to work good. And
I'm a Dent Dial guy. I use another tool.
Yeah, I use, don't get that's a given. The flat bar is a given, but I'm trying to think of one just perfectly goes into that edge.
I have a Stanliner one. A major corporation that I've acquired. That is great. It's a great tool. It's actually an old Dent Wizard tool. It's a flat bar. It comes up and it curls around, and it's got like a whale head on it.
Yeah.
Used to be able to put a piece of rubber hose over it, and it is a awesome tool. But Dent Gear made one, and obviously with him selling and everything, it's not around anymore. But it was a good tool back in the day.
Yeah, Stanliner carries one. Well, actually, A1 Tools carries it for Stanliner. It's kind of almost looks like a hook, and it's got a screw-on plastic tip. And what you can do is you slide it on the inside edge of the fender lip tool. It worked pretty good, but it was yet to be determined. So it's hard. Nothing has been the perfect fender lip tool. It's not every tool's like, oh, that works every time. I recommend trying different tools and definitely pick up the Ultra one. And if you put it on a flat bar that has the right bend, you're going to get really close on that edge right there. So
what do you think about the Dentcraft pieces that are holding the wheel lip?
You get it, dude. Get it. You're talking the support.
Yes.
The things right there that I was using. I think it's. Do they have them out yet? Because that was like 3 weeks ago, right? Or 2 weeks ago. I had them on.
So what it is it's two blocks that go on the wheel lip of the fender, and you can strap it to the suspension and pull it tight. A lot of the times those fender edges get blown out when you're pushing, and it's a bad dent on that wheel arch, and you're really cranking. It'll kind of blow the fender out. So that tries to keep the fender back into where it's supposed to be.
They have worked good too as well. And there's some I think these welding clamps that you get from Blue Point on the Snap-on. They clamp on the edge, and they call it something 2000, man. I just forget now. I'll have to, but they clamp. They're not your C clamp things that you see at Home Depot. They're welding clamps, and they snap down on the curling lip of the edge of the fender lip, and it makes it more rigid as you're pushing. Those work real fantastic too as well.
I've been using a hood prop rod and a wall or whatever. You know what I mean? I'm always trying to. There really wasn't anything out there.
Did you see Sal what he did?
Yes.
Yeah.
He is.
He's always Mr. Creative, huh?
Yeah, some of the stuff he does is. I'm like, I don't know how long it took him to set it up.
Well, he already went to Home Depot, and then. I'm
No.
serious. He probably did. You know what I mean? Sal's the guy. Look, give me 3.5 days on this, and he'll get it out, dude. But he takes his time, and he's
so creative.
Yeah, he is. He is. And what's crazy about PDR, and listen, guys, I'm not mocking Sal. Believe me, he's a unique tech, a damn good tech.
Yes.
The great thing about PDR, and this is the only thing that upsets me about other techs, is that techs who get upset at other techs for doing it other than their way, is wrong. I mean, that you shouldn't say that, because everybody has their own way of doing it. What counts at the end? Does it look great? And did they not drill 1,000 holes in it? That's the
Yes.
only thing. Okay. But everybody has their own technique. It is called dent foo. Respect everyone's dent foo. Take a little technique from yours or his or whatever. I could probably watch your videos all day long and watch you do a tutorial, and I'll probably learn something from you. I know I would. You know what I mean?
say this all the time with the guys, and you'll have 3 techs in the room. All 3 techs are going to look at how you're repairing the damage and say, why are you doing like this? Or why are you doing why are you using that tool? Everybody, if you look at 3 different tool carts, it's 3 different sets of tools. You can go in a hail room with 50 techs and nobody's going to have the exact same tools on their cart.
Yeah. I got something to mention to you is that, so I had the IMI at my shop, and a lot of local techs came from LA to San Diego. We're here. And we got together, and it was like having our own little mega media slash MTE. And we're all good techs. So what we decided, we said, let's have a dent alliance. We're going to get together every 3 months. And, Joe from Dent Evo up there, we're all going to meet at Vince's shop this time, and on August 17th. And anybody's invited if you hear this and you're in Southern California. We're all just going to share tech tips and bash some dents, and then we're going to say, okay, hey Joe, it's your turn. You do that dent, and then kind of explain how you're fixing it. Why would you fix it with that? And then we suck whatever we can get out of that technique, and then it's your turn to do it. That's what we want to do. And I think it's important that local techs do that with each other, man. It keeps it tight. It keeps everything on the same page. And we're not talking about, pricing. We're talking about relationships and the techniques and getting better as a group. That's what we're all about.
Yeah, I saw you had Steve Brown there. He's a beast.
Yeah, he is, dude. He's funny as hell. He's got some stories, man. You gotta wait until you see him, dude. Again, you met him in person yet?
I've known him for years. He's an old Dent Wizard guy. I know him and his brother, and let me tell you, don't go drinking beers with that guy.
No, that's where the stories come in, dude. Yeah, I love Steve. But yeah, that's I recommend that people, you try to hang out with your local dent guys in the group and see what you can get out of it, man. I think you'll be more surprised than you think.
So you've got your training platform. The response on my end is just, obviously I haven't been through your training before, but I talk to Lee all the time. Everybody that I've talked to with your training has absolutely loved it. You spend a lot of hands-on with them. How did you get to the point where you self-taught with the training? This is how I should apply this to these guys. How did you get to the point that you are in your training platform to get the response from the techs that you are, that are out there? I mean, sure. the Dent Lion's in here. He was one of the guys that you trained. And how did you get to where you are with your training platform?
Sure. First of all, I thank you, Ryan, but I want to say, everybody, please give some thoughts and prayers for Lee Shuri. He was in the hospital for about 3.5 weeks, and he had a respiratory problem. I'm not sure if he wants me to say that, but I feel like it needs to be said. A lot of you probably going, how does Lee, like every person on Instagram, you probably see Lee locking everybody, but he had a little time off, and he was able to have some extra time on his hands. But he sounded still pretty sick when I called him, and my thoughts and prayers are for him. He's a great guy, and I hope he recovers fast. So
that man is in his own category. You know what I mean? I'll talk to him on the phone for an hour. He'll ask me a bunch of questions about body shops, because he knows that most of my business is body shop based. And 3 days later, I'll get a card in the mail saying, thank you so much for spending time. I met him at MTE, and he's an amazing person.
Yeah, I agree. He's one of a kind, because if you get to know him, he's unique. He's a unicorn out of our industry. So
yes.
Yeah. So thoughts and prayers to Lee. And if you guys can wish him well, it's Dent Ding King on Instagram. Just send him a message and hope he gets well soon. So going back to your question, Again, it had to deal. I learned a lot from my stepdad. My stepdad was a good tech, but he was a horrible teacher. And I just remember what I said. Oh God, I am not going to teach like that. First of all, it wasn't my intention to be a trainer right off the bat. I did not want to be a trainer. It was not my desire. But I did. I'm not going to name no names, but I did go to a company where I did buy some tools from, and I walked in, and I remember seeing like 30 guys, at least no less than 20 guys. Okay, 20 to 30 guys. And they showed me a tour, like, yeah, we got these people here. They're getting trained, and blah, blah, blah. And like, how long are they training for? Like a week. And I'm like, oh man, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, I suck, man. Because this guy's a good trainer, man. How can he train 20, 30 people in like a week? I go, man, they must be doing well. But later on, as I became more aware that this is not something that you can learn, no matter how good the trainer, no matter how good hands-on the person is, no way you could learn this in a week. And to put it in another meaning is, pop in a videotape or a DVD, and your title is Batman, but you know what the movie's about, but you don't know the details of the movie. And fast forward it. Take a 2-hour movie and watch it in 10 minutes. And that's what 1 week training was like to me personally. And I saw people, I was on doording.com, people one after another. I came from this school, and I didn't learn much. I paid this much money, and I was getting angry, more and more upset. Not at just the people who are training, but just I felt bad for people who are going through that. Not knowing, thinking that they're going to get this and being misled in a way. Okay. And it wasn't fair. And I just got upset. I said, man, people are going to have to know. So I started writing blogs. I started educating people. Hey, look for other people to train you. Don't go longer. You got to go longer, blah, blah, blah. And they started contacting me. He's like, well, do you do training? I was like, well, I don't do like training. I bet. He goes, you sound like the person. You're completely honest. I'd like you to train me. And I said, fine. So I did train them. Granted, I don't think I was a very good trainer at that time, because there's a lot of details that we take for granted that's so instinct that it just looks like step. So little by little, I started paying attention to what these guys' problems were. I got polished as a trainer. I started really understanding and putting myself in their shoes. And I could see that, identify where people are having problems. Everybody has different problems at different stages of their career, or during the learning process. And so I kind of had a knack for it, to really dial them in and be able to train them and get them pretty decent in 4 weeks, because it has a lot to do with preparation. And I talk to them too. I want to make sure that this is something they want to do, and they're aware that it's not going to be easy, no way, shape, or form.
Yeah, definitely that. Definitely. And I think the way that you break it down and explain it, step for step is awesome.
Well, here's another thing too. So I started doing the YouTube videos. Just look, I was explaining a video not to teach the PDR techs. I was trying to teach the PDR community, the PDR customer. Okay. I thought, well, if I can explain it to the customer and he understands, little did I know it worked better than I thought. And the customers and the people are like, hey, can you train me? You really explain that perfectly. I'm trying to do it, but it's harder. I need some hands-on. And that's where it really got. And the people, they began to trust me, because I was myself on video. And look, people come from around the world to see me. They don't know me in person yet. They just trust that I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do, and be like I am through video. And that's how I started getting more training. And from there, I started getting better and better at training. I can relate to him, and it has something to do with being super, super patient, super
Yeah.
patient. Not my
So what's
stepdad.
what is the future of Dent Time and Myke Toledo? What's your next venture here? What's your next step? Or are you just gonna kind of ride this out for a little while and go from there?
I gotta ask my wife what she has planned for me. So
We don't have enough time.
yeah, we don't. Honestly, I think in the future I'm going to be buying a building. I don't know if I'm going to sell Dent Time one day. I think I want to be a consultant more than anything, and start working with other companies and help building their business and their brands. I think that's where I'm looking to going. Um, and so that's something I enjoy doing, and I would be more than happy to continue to do. It's just something I know I'm good at, and I love what I do, and I know people would trust me to help them do what they love to do.
Good, good. Where do you see what do you see in the future of paintless dent repair?
Oh, I think we're just I think it's sky's the limit. I think guys like Bryce Kelly are the ones, you say that I might be a pioneer in help leading the PDR industry to where it's going. But I think Bryce Kelly's setting the tone of the repairs that can be done.
It's crazy.
He's
That guy.
he's been in the game less than I am, as far as repairs, and Sal Contreras, dude. I'm not trying to leave out anybody, but there's a hell of a lot of techs out there, good techs out there. And we're all influencers one way or another. We all have had an influence on each other, and I think it's a good deal. And why? And what do you think I'm gonna? What's my opinion about the future? I think it's bright. It's very bright.
Yeah.
I think the new guys get it. Go ahead.
You can kind of see the change in everything. Perfect example, Kiko getting into the collision industry with the pull to paint. So much of that stuff's new. We've been doing the same stuff for a couple of years using glue to pull some big damage, but now it's getting into the body shops. And I did a training seminar with Dave Shutt here locally at the local Keystone, and the guys are in there and sat up and said, they're going to put you out of business. I can't believe there's dent guys in here. And I was like, they're not putting us out of business. You just don't understand what you guys are using this product for.
Yeah.
So you see that change in the industry. I think the stuff that Bryce Kelly's doing is just mind blowing. It was 2 nights ago. I was sitting talking with my wife, and she heard Bryce's voice. He was on another podcast that I was on, and she's like, "Is that Bryce Kelly?" I'm like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Look at this stuff. This Mustang fender that he's fixing. I'm not fixing."
Yeah. Yeah. But you know what that does to all of us? It's like a customer comes to you, right? And you give them a big price, but the way you conduct it and the way you feel and the way you believe and what the value of your cost is, the customer and I might not come, go ahead and bite, but you leave a taste in his mouth. It's kind of like what Bryce Kelly does. You might not want to do dents that Bryce Kelly's doing. Nobody really in the right mind. Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to that dent. But it leaves he puts a doubt in your mind or something in your mind saying, you know what, give it a try. Give it a try. You know what? Don't say no. Push yourself. And instead of saying no to every dent, you're trying now, because there's no excuse. He's helped setting the bar, regardless if it's, myself marketing or showing what your company could be like. That's what you need to pay attention to, because that's where the sky's the limit. You can be a great tech at PDR. You can market the hell out of your company and just thrive, and get the price you want. You got what? It seems like there's a specialist in everything now, You got Paul Corden with the pricing, helping getting the prices up. And you got Sal, he's apparatuses and showing different ways you can be creative with repairs, and Bryce. And then the marketing aspects, and people believe. You have to believe in yourself. No matter if you look at this right now, Ryan, in every aspect of that, what I was mentioning, you have to believe you can do that first.
Yes.
You know what I mean? If you want to get the full results, you have to start with yourself.
And
And
consistency, you
that's
know,
right.
perfect. Same thing you were saying. Mike and I talked for a long time at Anson, and one thing that came up was the consistency on your Facebook posts, on your Instagram, on your LinkedIn, constantly in the customer's face, is a huge thing, you know.
It is. It is. And you can't give up. You do it 3 times, 4 times, you're like, I just ain't working.
Mm-mm.
Man, that's not consistent, man. You
Gotta
know,
grind it out.
every
Grind
time
it out.
you got to look and see the light. That's and don't stop. Don't stop.
I get called the freight train. I just kind of chug along, chug along, chug along, and just keep plowing through it. You know, even though you're like, man, this isn't working. I got to figure this out, and just keep pushing. Just keep
Slow and
pushing
steady
through.
wins the race. Here's another thing I can give just a tip to everybody. You feel like your company, you're stagnant. You feel like you're not motivated, but think about something that you could do that would be energizing for yourself. Maybe do a tool review, a live tool review, or maybe that, not just for the industry, but do something, a small demonstration on your live feed, your Facebook, your Instagram. Instagram's getting big and bigger and bigger. I just started doing IGTV again, and it is different than it was when I first started. So I would definitely check out IGTV. Get in there, you guys. And here's another thing. You better be the most well-known person in your neighborhood. And I'm not talking just in your neighborhood. Don't go market 20, 30 miles away. Who knows you within 5 miles of where you live or where you work? And make sure that everybody knows you. And so that's something you should concentrate right now on.
Now, do you guys have another mega media event coming up anytime soon?
We do. And I'm going to go ahead and I'll announce it right now. It is, I better make sure I put the right date. It is a Thursday. Let me just put this up here. It is.
I'm throwing Mike all the curveballs. I'm sorry, guys.
You got me.
It's coming.
October 17th through the 19th. So I haven't, you've heard it first right here. I mean, I've told some people in private, and we're expecting this to sell out within 2 weeks, because I'm not going to take more than 40 people. It's too big. It gets way too big beyond that. And I know it's going to be great. It's going to be in Colorado at Cole Fox's place in Greeley, Colorado.
That's cool. Well, look, Mike, I really appreciate you coming on, and I want to personally thank you for what you've done for the industry, brought to the industry, help building the industry. And, I personally can thank you for that. But I really appreciate you coming on.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much, Ryan. I really appreciate you bringing me on. Great questions. And I'm glad I was on. Thank you very much for having me.
How can everybody reach you? What's the best way of contacting you? Your Instagram, YouTube?
Instagram at Dent Time, Facebook at Dent Time, and YouTube at Dent Time. You can reach me there. I'm very, very active on my Facebook page. So if you want to check out some latest posts and things like that, go check me out there. And you can always see my repairs and posts on Instagram. So thank you.
Well, thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. We will see you next week at a remote location. You won't know until I get there. And remember, guys, keep it real. See ya.
See ya.